passage of that front because most of the rain showers are expected to reach over the open waters as that system pushes through. Temperature-wise, we're going to keep you in the 80s, low 80s during the daytime. Those nighttime temperatures in the upper 60s to low 70s. LaDawn.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Well, that does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you so much for watching, and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station. CARICOM leaders have wrapped up their work as they observe Global Tourism Resilience Day. Good evening, I'm Julian Reed, and welcome to our program.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mukesh Lapinda. Julian, a fitting end to, by all accounts, a successful 2 days of meetings here in the capital on crucial issues affecting the region. And I think it's safe to presume that organizers deliberately sought to ensure that aside from the busy agenda, there was an opportunity for regional leaders to loosen up themselves and soak up some of the Bahamas. You know, there was a luncheon yesterday afternoon, and that was hosted by the Office of the Spouse of the Prime Minister. Later on Thursday, there was a reception at Government House, and tonight we're here at Bahama, where there is a dinner for regional leaders.
And you know, today I spoke to the UK's ambassador to CARICOM, and she's decided, because she's an avid diver, that she's going to spend a couple of days here and just enjoy the Bahamas.
And I think that's what a host country does in instances like this. Make sure that aside from all that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, you leave with a little bit of, you know, the Bahamian warm hospitality that we're known for out there.
Yeah.
But before tonight's dinner, the Prime Minister hosted a press conference where he spoke to the press on what happened over those 2 days of meetings. Timonita Sway will tell us more.
Good evening, Makushla, and good evening, Bahamas. Of course, that closing press conference wrapping up not too long ago, leading the charge or discussions, of course, CARICOM Chair Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, concluding that the 2 days of discussions were robust and fruitful. Now, one of the things that featured high on the agenda was, of course, Haiti. Now, one of the things that CARICOM Chair Davis indicated that at this time, CARICOM will not be putting boots on the ground in Haiti as it relates to stabilizing the unrest there. Instead, the plan is to ensure that the resources provided to the Haitian National Police are bolstered. Now, that will include ensuring that they are fed, ensuring that they are also paid. Now, COVID-19 and other emerging health emergencies also discussed by regional leaders. Davis also indicated that the heads of government are concerned with the level of crime in their respective states. Now, wanting to tackle that will be a symposium set for April in Trinidad and Tobago, where they will consider whether or not crime is a public health concern. Now, this year, we know that the Bahamas is celebrating its 50th anniversary, but of course, CARICOM is celebrating its 50th anniversary as well. That was also discussed. The theme for this year is 50 years strong, a solid foundation to build on. Now, obviously, the regional leaders have their work cut out for them, but they are committed to ensuring that the best possible foot is put forward for all respective CARICOM leaders and their people. Back to you, Makashla.
Well, thanks, Jimenito. We can also tell you that the leaders also agreed to a revised Treaty of Chaguaramas to be signed in July. So it seems like some progress was made, maybe not all they thought would have been made. And these are the kinds of meetings we're dealing with. Not everything will take place over the next 2 days. At least it leaves something to do come July.
Actually, Makosha, from what I've been getting, and I've had a chance to speak to some of the people who are participating in this conference, it seems like quite a bit was done. It was really quite a successful 2 days, or 2 or 3 days. Of course, there is one problem that we are actually facing in the region right now, and that has to do with Suriname. They've actually had riots there. So the actual leaders actually had to address that, and I will have more on that a little bit later in the broadcast. But the Prime Minister also issued a statement, and here's what he had to say.
CARICOM leaders held frank and productive discussions during day one of their annual meeting here at the Bahama Resort. While the ongoing political crisis in Haiti was paramount on their agenda and remains a security issue, CARICOM Chairman, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis, revealed to us some of the decisions made once that issue was discussed.
The first initiative, I think, would be to strengthen the Haitian National Police, restore them to their place of prominence in respect to providing the security that's necessary for the country. We need to recruit. There need to be a recruitment of police officers. There has to be a means to be ensuring that they are being that they are paid for their services, and those are some of the real issues. And so there is this CARICOM. We're being able to craft a CARICOM Canadian initiative for that purpose, and hopefully within the next few days there'll be a visit to Haiti to call all the stakeholders together to buy into the plans that we are crafting for the purposes of empowering and helping the Haitian National Police.
And would that new initiative involve Caribbean police going to Haiti as well?
Not necessarily, only for the purpose of helping in training.
Okay.
It is not that we'll be there. As we continually say, it has to be a Haitian-led solution, and the idea is to be able to support the Haitian people to come up to that solution. And we're prepared, first of all, to start with the process of ensuring that security is in place.
Regional leaders collaborated on crime and violence, branding it now as not just a criminal issue, but a public health issue.
We will hopefully be able to find answers amongst ourselves, pointing out our shared experiences in this area, and the amount of violence, particularly gun-generated violence, in the whole region is at a point that we need to have a coordinated regional approach to these things. And we are discovering as well that crime and violence is cross-border issues within Caribbean countries, and there again, the cooperative efforts between our nations is a necessity to be able to combat those creeping issues.
And speaking of public health, CARICOM leaders also got an overview of the region's public health system in a post-COVID-19 pandemic world.
We have decided to pay more intense and focused attention to that aspect, because it is a challenge that is impacting the whole of the Caribbean region, and I dare say that there's something that we need to look at, because our NDCs in this country is reaching to a point where we are nearing a pandemic in respect to it. Because as was pointed out yesterday, most of the health services resources was distracted to take care of the COVID-19 challenges that we're experiencing, and that sort of left unattended the needs of persons suffering from NDCs, and that has caused a deteriorating and debilitating impact on lives of persons who are suffering from those diseases.
Prime Minister Davis boasted that his regional counterparts are so happy to be here in the Bahamas, and they're even enjoying all the authentic Bahamian hospitality that we're known for. I'm Altaviz Munnings for Live at CARICOM.
Well, Julian, both Haiti and COVID, Haiti actually, and non-communicable diseases are both deep-seated problems that didn't, COVID sprung up overnight, but non-communicable diseases, we've long had to battle with that. Haiti's deep-seated problems go many decades back, and it won't, like we've continued to say, won't be solved overnight.
The sad thing is, that... and I understand the approach that has to be taken. It has to be Haitian-led. But the fact is, that means it's going to take an awfully long time before we see any true resolution in Haiti. But it has to go that way, right? But the fact is that the leaders are engaged, and they're serious about it. They're committed to it. And that's what we need to see done.
Yeah,
there's a new meeting coming up in Trinidad, I think.
There is progress. The progress is small, but we'll take the progress nonetheless.
Yep.
Well, we have, there is one thing to live in Haiti. There's another to actually cover that story as a journalist, as the case for Jacqueline Charles, an American journalist, and she's also a Pulitzer Prize finalist, and we can also tell you that she's of Haitian descent. Listen into this clip.
They're basically living in areas that are no-go zones. To get around the Capitol today, you have to be highly concerned about kidnappings. It's no longer like this area is off limit, that area is off limits. Basically, when you hear the statistics about 60% of Port-au-Prince being under gang control, you feel like it's more than 60%. And, I just came back from Haiti yesterday, and I just remember riding in the streets and just thinking, my God, how can one country change so much in a short amount of time? And I remember, before the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, and I used to go to Jamaica, and I would go to Port Royal, and people would tell me how things in Port Royal changed after this earthquake, and I couldn't really grasp what that meant, right? They were trying to articulate to me how that earthquake happened in Jamaica, and it just changed things. But today I can tell you that, yes, Haiti before and after, 2010 and today, it's very difficult. During this trip, we went to a school, and I was in a school, and there were these kids, and the person I was with at the end, she says, "Oh, do you have any requests?" And it was like, "Yeah, I want a doll, I want an airplane." And I almost broke down in tears, because these were kids who are having just a normal existence, but the reality is for them every day that they get up to go to school, their parents don't know if they're going to be grabbed. They don't know if they're going to be the next victim of violence. Now schools are no longer safe zones. The gangs are going into schools. I think that people really just don't truly grasp what's happening. And
Makushla, I know Jacqueline. She's really probably the most respected journalist on covering issues related to Haiti. And you know what I like about her most? She's very accessible. When the 2010 earthquake occurred, I had the opportunity to go into Port-au-Prince afterwards, and we went out into what they call en plein in the country. And, she was there with me, and I learned a lot from her. She's really an exceptional journalist.
I think what's really troubling, in addition to the violence that is happening there, Haiti has to contend with so many other issues. It's had to contend with things like cholera, a rise in cholera again. And this must be really heartbreaking for her to, be a correspondent for the Miami Herald, but see your home country descend into something of this nature.
Yeah, you know, but the thing is, she's always accurate and she's fair. And like I said, the level of knowledge that she has on Haiti is just really exceptional. Well, we're going to take a break right now. We have much more for you, so stay with us. Welcome back. The Prime Minister is now hosting the CARICOM leaders and other delegates to a final dinner, and I'm sure they're looking forward to sort of engaging with each other in a relaxed way.
You know, it's an opportunity. If you didn't have an opportunity to enjoy Bahama Bay or, go to Arawak Keys, giving you a little something to leave home with.
Absolutely. Well, I had the pleasure of speaking with Jamaica's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. I told you at the beginning of the broadcast that there was unrest in Suriname, and she spoke to me about that.
We've been through a very difficult 3-year period and continue to be perhaps only emerging from that 3-year period with all its challenges for our people, how, high cost of living affects us across the piece, the challenges in accessing development financing, and of course the issues of stability in our neighboring country, Haiti, as well as, of course, the most recent developments in Suriname. So we've been discussing a wide range of issues, challenges and solutions, and I think it's been a productive 2 days.
Well, let's start with Suriname, right? From the information that you as leaders have, what is the situation there?
Well, we were briefed today by the foreign minister representing the president who expressed or shared with us some of the developments that occurred today. They had protests largely in Paramaribo, but they were widespread. We understand that persons were attacked, that attacks were made on public and private buildings. There were incidents of looting, and all of this in reaction to high prices and austerity programs as they too seek to weather some of the austerity measures that are required in stabilizing an economy in the difficult circumstances in which we are as highly indebted countries. So the CARICOM heads of government have expressed their solidarity with the democratically elected government of Suriname and have stood also in solidarity with the people, the law-abiding citizens. The heads of government have condemned this type of violent protest, as even though we recognize the right to peaceful protest and the right to freedom and freedom of expression, that this reversion to violence, which we have seen in closer neighbors, both to the north and the south, we feel that these things are a threat to democracy. They're a threat to the institutions that we hold dear and that we as people have fought for over the years.
Well, Minister Johnson Smith also went into more detail about the way forward for Haiti.
So we have indicated that we will be, that heads rather, will be supporting a meeting in Jamaica, in Kingston, Jamaica, in short order to address the matter of inclusion, to see if we are able to facilitate some of the consensus building that's necessary to bring more persons on board. And that we will also be having a mission to Haiti to discuss the security plans, how it is that we move closer to peace and stability, and also work on strengthening the capacity of the Haitian National Police to address the concerns that exist and to protect the population.
Now, the big concern there, though, is we're talking, and I understand why we're taking that approach.
Yeah.
Haiti has to be in charge.
Yeah.
But it sounds like many years out before we can get real stability there, huh?
Well, I don't think there are any quick fixes for the circumstances as they exist. There's an extremely complicated legal set of concerns. There's great instability and institutional weakness. And in that context, it is very important that attention is paid to process, even as we address some of the urgent needs.
Well, Krishna, the minister, Minister Johnson Smith, was very frank and open about the discussions that have been taking place and the way forward. So they actually are making progress, but it's going to be a long process.
And that safety and security that she speaks about in Haiti is really very critical to that island, staging, hosting, and having free and fair elections. And that, at this point, was initially slated to happen this year.
Not going to happen.
It's a mystery when it will happen.
I'd be happy if
point.
it does, but I don't see it happening. Yeah.
Now, also at the table this evening during discussions was the president of the Afro-Exim Bank. Addressing regional heads, first for Professor Benedict Orama, at least since CARICOM signed a partnership agreement last September with his Afro-Exim Bank. Today's talks with CARICOM an opportunity then to further explain the bank's history, its function, the purpose of that partnership, plans for the Caribbean, and also to seek CARICOM's support for the work it's doing to promote trade and investment. As it stands, 9 CARICOM members are part of that agreement.
No, I actually expect that most, if not all, the others will come in a couple of months. Mm-hmm. Some of them who had not joined were those where government, there have been changes in government just about the time the partnership agreement was opened, mm-hmm. So the government were settling in. Now we met some of them last night at the reception.
Wonderful.
So they are now settled in, and they've given indications that they will very quickly go through their processes to join. So we haven't witnessed any hesitancy. And today, during the discussions, when we had the opportunity to exchange with members, all through the membership, we had nothing but strong support for the initiative. After all, with everyone on board, this makes it possible for the Afro-Exim Bank to up its support. So the more the merrier. So it can only be more effective, or most effective, when every member of CARICOM is involved. Even the other interventions we hope we will bring here, like the payment system, mm-hmm. That will make it possible for intra-regional payments to be done in local currency, can only work if you have more members. That's why it is very important that those who have not joined process their accession to the agreement quickly. No concern about the Bahamas, though. It's among those that have already signed on to the bank's agreement. Bahama becomes fully eligible to receive the support of our Afro-Exim Bank. So what that means is that the businesses in the Bahamas will be able to access all the facilities of our Afro-Exim Bank. The government of the Bahamas will be able to access all the facilities of our Afro-Exim Bank. And these range from loans, trade finance, project finance, mm-hmm. loans for the SMEs, guarantees, insurance services, the payment services, e-commerce services, advisory and capital market services, equity investment, grant financing. So all these are the products that President Bank offers.
The Afri-Exim Bank brought along bigwig investors and clients, all interested in the Caribbean.
They are looking at supporting certain activities and investing in certain activities, including in port infrastructure. Some are looking at developing industrial parks, and there is also discussion about fishery and poultry projects here. So those are the kind of things that you start expecting to see in the Bahamas.
Well, Makushla, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think that's a very significant move. The future is in Africa. You can't deny it. They're advanced in so many ways, innovation, technology, and I'm happy that we're actually having that kind of relationship with them. We need to.
He actually made a point, too, looking to the future. He said arrangements are already being made to begin direct flights to the Caribbean. Now, he hasn't said which island, but that's a lot to look forward to.
Actually, I think Barbados already has direct flights to Nigeria or someplace. I'm not sure, but it is very important to have those.
Well, I'm sure he's keen on getting the Bahamas on board, because he made it known that he'd like a lot of Bahamians to come to the motherland to experience it for themselves.
Have you had that experience?
I haven't.
Oh, I've been to Kenya many times and also to Senegal. So an experience you gotta have.
I'm told, as by the president of the Exim Bank. And the Afri-Exim Bank, an acronym, of course, for the African Export-Import Bank.
Okay. Well, now back to home and to our neighbors in the south. The Turks and Caicos Islands are represented here, and I had the opportunity this morning to speak with the Premier of the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Honorable Charles Missick.
One of the big issues that came out of the discussions around security yesterday evening or afternoon was that crime, violent gun crime, has now become pervasive across all of our territories.
It's not any one country, it's
right.
all of us.
So there was a proposal by Trinidad to have a session in Trinidad zone to have a deeper dive into some of the causes and perhaps prescribing some potential solutions and collaboration as to how we can work together in order to deal with what has been described now as a public health emergency.
Yes, it's interesting, right? How they're describing it a public health emergency. Huh?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the issue of illegal migration is also significant there in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Premier spoke about that as well.
Well, first,
has anything come out of the discussions that you can tell us that might be optimistic about the way forward?
Well, in terms of bringing some solution to the internal governance problems in Haiti, I think that is going to take a while. What was encouraging about the meeting is the position that Canada is involved and is providing some security and some other assistance on the ground in Haiti. And I think discussion yesterday was around a delegation physically going to Haiti to meet with stakeholders to discuss and to better understand the problems and to see how the region, the CARICOM, could assist in perhaps getting everybody around the table and coming to some internal solution. But at the end of the day, it has to be, CARICOM realizes and agrees that it has to be a Haitian solution. And so the community will and is happy to act as mediators but the solution has to come from the Haitian people. And so I think that was very promising yesterday. There's talks about having a follow-up meeting immediately after that, once, I guess, the information has been gathered and there's a better understanding. Then there are talks of heads meeting again, and so that they can package what the assistance that they believe that the community can provide to Haiti.
Well, Makushla, when you listen to, well, you've just heard the premier from the Turks and Caicos Islands, and before that we heard from the foreign minister from Jamaica. You do get a feeling that something is moving as far as Haiti is concerned, don't you?
I do, and Turks and Caicos Islands, of course, they're battling the very same issues we are. For example, a high crime rate. They have even had some of our officers go over there to assist with that. In the face of the Bahamas alone, recording more than 120 murders, homicides last year. So their challenges are not new to us. We're pretty much on the same level, I think it's safe to presume.
But I will tell you this. He also said that the Bahamas' assistance has really actually helped to sort of like have an abatement in crime there, a little bit of a reduction. So it seems like they have it under control now, at least for now.
At least for now. Well, you're watching live coverage of a post-show of the 44 regular CARICOM meeting here in the capital. Stay with us. We return after this. Welcome back. You're joining us, and we're at Bahama, the venue for a dinner for regional heads here in the capital following 2 days of intense discussions on critical issues impacting the region. Now, standing by for us is our Jimenita Swain with Diana Swan, the executive the coordinator, really, of international and local press. She's the lady who really had hands-on in bringing this whole event together. Jimenita?
Good evening again, Makushla, and good evening, Bahamas. Of course, Bahamas Information Services played a key role in ensuring that the information coming out of the sessions was disseminated in a timely fashion, and at the helm, ensuring that everything ran smoothly, was, of course, the Executive Director, Ms. Diana Swan. Good evening, Ms. Swan. How are you?
I'm fine, Jimenita. I'm fine. I'm tired, but fine.
I can imagine it was a hectic few days. But talk to us about organizing not only the local media but international media during the sessions to ensure that everything ran smoothly.
Well, actually, you talked about a few days. It's been months. We have been meeting with the National Task Force for CARICOM from last year. And getting the media together was an awesome task. Bahamas Information Services, in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, we became the host broadcasters. I took on the role to ensure that the local media was well informed, as well as the international media. So we joined our Caribbean partners through the Caribbean Broadcasting Union, as well as through Zoom, and we were able to bring together great minds, a lot of very intelligent young people in journalism like yourself, and we were able to disseminate each day what was going on. Now, it was hard telling them that there were some sessions that were private and some sessions that could be covered. And you know, as a reporter yourself, you want that story, and so we wanted to make sure everyone got a fair shake. Everyone got a fair shake at interviewing the heads of government that would have been in country. And today, on Tuesday, we saw the opening news conference, and today we saw the closing conference. And we had journalists from the Bahamas, as well as journalists worldwide, were able to ask questions of our Prime Minister, who's the outgoing chairman here of CARICOM.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. That is, of course, the Executive Director of Bahamas Information Services, Mrs. Diana Swan. Busy few days, but back to you, Makushla.
Oh, thanks, Jimenita. Julian, I'm sure, as you just heard, no small feat for the organizing team behind this event. Post interviews, all to ensure that everything ran smoothly over the course of CARICOM meeting.
Not at all. It's not easy at all. Of course, our role has been very different, but the people like Jimenita who've actually had to go into the sessions, the sessions that were allowed, the press conferences, etc. When you're traveling and you're actually at a big meeting like this, it is so important to have that information. And for it to, of course, you got deadlines, for
exactly.
your newscast. So it's very important to actually have all of that together. It's not an easy thing at all.
Mm-hmm. And they did a good job in making sure that it ran very smoothly.
Well, from what I can see, yes. Mm-hmm. Now, I think Jimenita actually has someone else that we'd like to hear from. So you want to toss it back to her?
Jimenita is standing by with another member of the organizing team, obviously, who played a key role in putting all the nuts and bolts in place into bringing this event together. Jimenita?
Good evening again, Julian and Makushla. And standing with me here is, of course, the ambassador to CARICOM, Her Excellency, the Honorable Leah Miller-Bryce. And she has been, like many of the attendees here, busy over the last few days and over the last few months with a lot of activities going on. There was a wrap today for the 44th regional session or meeting. How did it go for you being a part of all that's been happening so far?
The entire event has truly been extremely productive. Thank you so much that CARICOM was able to be held here in our beautiful country. And speaking with all of the delegates, they're excited. They were happy to visit our beautiful shores. The Bahama Resort did just a wonderful job. Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Office of the Prime Minister, spectacular job, first class, extremely professional. And so that is what most of the delegates have said to us this evening.
And I know that you would have had an opportunity in your capacity to sit in on some of the plenary sessions, a number of discussions focused on Haiti, climate change, food security, crime. What was your takeaway from, being a part of those sessions?
Very informative. It was an awesome opportunity just to see all of the prime ministers from just around the Caribbean to come together to speak, to inform, to educate, to give their input, their suggestions, their ideas. And with our Prime Minister being in the leadership chair, that was also something phenomenal for me to experience and for the entire country to witness and to see that happen here on our shores. And there was so much that came out of the meetings as it relates to Haiti. You know, everyone has agreed that they're going to do all that they can. The Canadian Prime Minister was also here on the ground, and he has given his support to ensuring that the issues in Haiti should be resolved. And that is what the determining factor is from all of the prime ministers that are here. And so it was just a wonderful experience just to sit there and understand, you know, that we may be of different background, different ethnicities, but we have so much in common as a Caribbean region. And so that was a wonderful experience for me.
And obviously, as you mentioned, you had a chance to talk to some of the leaders, and they expressed their views. Following that press conference early this afternoon during the wrap-up, the Prime Minister for Dominica, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, extended thanks to the Bahamian chair for CARICOM and the Bahamian people for the warm reception they would have received during their time here. But like the Bahamas, who is celebrating its 50th anniversary, CARICOM is also going to be celebrating its 50th anniversary as well in July, when the sessions head to Dominica. But how are we in terms of our preparations and celebrations? I know we had the launch just a few weeks ago, but what's happening now?
So I do want to say congratulations to CARICOM for also celebrating 50 years. What a milestone. What a phenomenal feeling to know that CARICOM made it. They made it to 50. And now our beautiful country, we are also celebrating 50 years. There's so much in store, and there's so much for us to celebrate as Bahamians. We've come a long way, a very long way. And the 50th is really a wonderful milestone. We have a legacy. It's one nation. It's one people coming together just to celebrate.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Her Excellency, Ambassador to CARICOM, the Honorable Leslie Miller Bryce. Thank you so much for joining us. Back to you, Makashla and Julian.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jimanita. You're jumping ahead of me. I was just saying that, you know, having pulled off a successful CARICOM 2 days of meeting, 3 days actually for some leaders here, Her Excellency Leslie Miller Bryce now has to resume plans for the 50th independence of the Bahamas, which coincidentally, as Jimanita pointed out, coincides with the 50th anniversary of CARICOM. So she has a lot of work to pull together in a relatively short space of time.
Yeah, CARICOM came into effect the 4th of July, 1973. Exactly. And of course, July 10th.
The Bahamas became an independent nation.
Now, earlier you heard Diana Swan talk about the partnership between BIS and us, the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. Well, our chairman, Picewell Forbes, who actually served as High Commissioner to CARICOM previously, spoke about that.
My first meeting would have been in Bridgetown, Barbados, and to see the level of work and energy it takes to get everything in place, and also the security measures involved therein. Then I went on to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and also in the Cooperative Republic of Guyana to attend heads of government meeting there. And I think what Bahamians need to take from this meeting here in New Providence is the level of detail, especially from the Secretariat level in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. As a precursor to the meeting itself, there are long nights that the staff would spend at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, along with the Minister himself, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, going over things at the Secretariat level. Then there's the security detail, where the police high command and also those in the Defense Force would come together and looking at all possible extremities and the challenges involved therein. I am very proud to be Bahamian. When I would have heard the address of our Prime Minister, he waxed eloquently. He has made Bahamians proud, and especially when we look at issues that are very relatable and relevant today, the issue that was happening in Haiti just next door, and to have Prime Minister Henry here, and also the issue of climate change and sustainable development for small island and developing states. And I want to commend the Prime Minister, Philip Brave Davis, for his work and his efforts for this beautiful land of ours, and he and those who did all the preparatory work to make this.
Well, Chairman Forbes also spoke more specifically to the role of ZNS during this summit.
These
these events were played back for a day or two on television back in the day. So our people knew what was happening.
Right.
And I think we need to get back to some of that, because many times persons would not see some things, what I call on social media, and if they're just kind of struggling around the home, lying around, they might just watch it. And I think we must get back to some of that, because it's a part of our programming, not to influence anything, but to educate our people. And many persons in the Family Islands, for example, who have no choice when it comes to the various channels, would want to watch this kind of thing.
Well, our live coverage of the post-show of the 44th regular Heads of Government meeting continues after this. Welcome back. The Broadcasting Corporation chairman just a few moments ago stressing the importance of broadcasting in the country, in disseminating information in a timely manner throughout the country and indeed throughout the world.
Well, we are the national broadcaster and we are a public broadcaster. And it is so important to make sure that people understand things. And that's what we try to do, to break it down so that it's understandable.
Exactly. And with accuracy.
Accuracy is key, eh?
That's right.
Yeah, great. Well, I know that Jim Anita is going to have another, not right yet. We will talk a little bit more about what has your experience been like since you've been covering this, Makushla?
Broadcasting
have you covered any CARICOM matters before?
I covered CARICOM away from CARICOM, so not this intimately involved in CARICOM. CARICOM meetings recently have been virtual and only, I think last year, really started in person. And so prior to that, you had others covering CARICOM, and I'd take a more backseat in covering CARICOM. So this has been a truly a real experience to be up to the fore, to be in terms of taking this role for it, recapping what all happens throughout the day and indeed the following day. So this has been a new experience for me in terms of covering a CARICOM.
Well, I've been fortunate to cover a number of CARICOM meetings, and a couple stand out, but one that stands out the most was, I think, in 2002. when we were at the other place where you and I used to work together, right? And it was in Havana, and I just was so fortunate that there was a very private meeting, and I found myself the only reporter there, smack dab in the middle of Jamaica's P.J. Patterson, Manning from Trinidad, Aristide from Haiti, and they all spoke to me easily, and it really was an exciting period.
I think that's the thing. I think being here on the desk takes us away from what we're used to in terms of seeing leaders up close and personal, and trying to lock down an interview with them. So just to report on what they've said the day before, minutes before, as opposed to actually doing the interview or being up in their face, it's a bit different this time around.
The best interviews come when people are relaxed, and that's the key. If you can make people relax, you can get all the information you need.
This is true.
Great. Well, we're going to take a little break right now, and we'll be back with more as our coverage, our live coverage, continues. Well, the 44th regular meeting of the Conference of the Heads of Government of CARICOM has come to an end. Prime Minister Philip Davis of the Bahamas will continue to chair this regional body until July 4th, when Mr. Skerritt from Dominica,
Prime Minister of Dominica,
right,
yes, will take over in July.
When you look back over the past few days, what highlights would you like to focus on, Mokashla?
I think we've heard very little coming out of what updates on COVID-19, and it was a big thing for 3 years. And of course, Haiti has been pushed to the fore because of what is happening there. But COVID, I think officials will tell you, it's not gone away. We're still dealing with it. We had just this week 12 cases in Exuma and 20 quarantined, and so it speaks to it still being on the agenda,
still part of our life,
still part of our lives and on the agenda, but not as high on the agenda as previous years. And maybe that's a good thing.
It's weird, though. I mean, if you think about it, right? I mean, we got through the pandemic, most of us. I mean, we lost many people.
Yes.
But we got through it for the most part. Yeah. But that seems like a dream almost, doesn't it? I mean, you and I had to continue to work. But the fact that we got through it seems amazing and, miraculous in itself.
The thing about it is, Julian, COVID is still with us, and we also have to contend with other emerging health issues. While cholera isn't a new disease by any stretch of the imagination, it's coming back with a vengeance, so to speak, in Haiti.
Well, we're still lucky because, when you think about it, like in Africa, the Marburg virus is, there again. And, it's like Ebola, sort of like a flesh-eating disease. So, we're kind of fortunate that we don't have those kinds of
monkeypox, all those things we had to deal with and still deal with. And like I said, scientists, every day you look at the international reports and there seems to be some other new illness on the radar.
There you go. And all of these things affect the economy and the way a country can actually move forward. But let me ask you this. What did you learn most? What stands out most for you over the past few days?
I think for me is how strong CARICOM is. I think it's how strong CARICOM is for the Haitian Prime Minister to make an appeal, hey, help me. For a Russian president to make an appeal, hey, you're moving as a bloc, help me. To get the attention of alliances outside of the Caribbean, in the person of Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, U.S. officials like John Kerry. This must be a phenomenal group.
Well, I'm going to ask you something because when we started our broadcast a few days ago, I think you and I had a conversation about whether
CARICOM is still
relevant,
and
if we should remain in it. What's your answer now?
I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind listening to what's come out of the meetings, and more so on the international, from our international officials, how they view the Bahamas, and they really view the Bahamas as a stronghold in CARICOM, and that's always a good thing. So you can rest assured, Julian, I still feel, I've changed my mind, CARICOM is still relevant for me.
Absolutely. Like the Prime Minister says, you can't go it alone. Anyway, we actually are going to go back to Jimanita Swain as we get near to the end of this broadcast. Jimanita.
Well, thanks, Julian. Obviously, I know the CARICOM leaders for now, maybe they're letting their hair down and breathing a sigh of relief, but they still have a lot of work ahead of them. We listened to Canadian Prime Minister, the Honorable Justin Trudeau, during his presentation. We want to see what's going to happen as it relates to what he committed for Haiti, that is additional resources in the way of finances, and also the Royal Navy ships that they plan to send to do surveillance around Haiti's borders. Also, there was a discussion during the closing sessions, the Q&A, about reparations. Obviously, that has been an issue that's been discussed for some time now, and that is something that regional leaders will also take to the forefront and see where things go, as that the Honorable Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley referenced the fact that the Netherlands has done some things as it relates to reparations, but obviously the Caribbean is going to be putting a greater push on reparations for the region as a whole. So while they may enjoy their final few hours as things wrap up here, they still have a lot of work ahead for them. Obviously, like the Bahamas, we are concerned with crime. They are concerned with crime as well. And ultimately, with the 50th celebrations coming up, one thing they reiterated: one nation, one Caribbean. No matter what happens, we are all in this together, whether it's the climate crisis, whether it's finding solutions on Haiti, food security, all of those are relevant issues to the CARICOM body. So a busy few days here, but very interesting and very informative. So back to you, Makushla and Julian.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. I think the key words to take from this is work in progress, and that's the only thing you can say in terms of the deep-seated issues that CARICOM has to deal with and will tackle going into July. At this juncture, we want to thank Clint Watson. He has been critical in assisting the media, especially the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, with interviews, and that's not only on the local scene, but foreign officials as well. We also want to thank the Bahamas Information Services for facilitating those interviews as well. They've made our job, Julian, I know you would agree, so much easier,
Actually,
so
it
much
went kind of
smoother.
smoothly, didn't it? But I also would like to thank Jerusa Ali from the British High Commission here. She actually made sure that I was able to interview the UK's ambassador to CARICOM, and you'll be able to hear exactly what we spoke about, talking about finance access and also the blue economy on the Read Factor in the next few days or so. So keep tuned in to ZNS for all of that and more. Good. Final words, my dear.
Final words, it's been quite
Which actually is what your name means, right? Bokushla means my dear.
My dear. For all of you out there who never knew, but it does mean my dear in Gaelic.
Yeah.
It's been quite an experience, Julian Reid. It's been quite an experience, even though we or I didn't get to interview all the ministers, prime ministers I wanted. This has been a phenomenal experience to be on a broadcast during the 50th anniversary of CARICOM, leading into the 50th anniversary of the country as an independent nation.
Great. Wonderful working with you. And to all of our viewers, first I'd like to say thank you to all of the team members here that helped to put this broadcast together. You guys are the best, and we really, really, really want to thank you. And to you, our viewers,
thanks for watching.
being here. God bless and stay safe.
Thank you.